impersonal Brahman, the localized Paramatma, and the personality of Godhead are three subjects, and the glowing effulgence, the partial manifestation, and the original form are their three respective predicates. अनुवाद आगे पांचे विदाया स्थापना से अर्थ कहे सुनो शास्त्र विवरणा. A predicate always follows its subject. Now I shall explain the meaning of this verse according to the revealed scriptures. Where is Rajhamsa? Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, Vishnu, Paratattva, Purna Jnana, Purnananda, Parama Mahatva. Krishna, the original form of the personality of Godhead, is the summum bonum of the all-pervading Vishnu. He is all perfect knowledge and all perfect bliss. He is the supreme transcendence. Text 9. Nanda Sutta Bali Andre Bhagavate Gat Sri Krishna Avatirna Chaitanya Goshani. He whom Srimad Bhagavatam describes as the son of Nanda Maharaj has descended to earth as Lord Chaitanya. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. According to the rules of rhetorical arrangement for efficient composition in literature, a subject should be mentioned before its predicate. The Vedic literature frequently mentions Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, and therefore these three terms are widely known as the subjects of transcendental understanding. But it is not widely known that what is approached as the impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental body. Nor is it widely known that the super soul or Paramatma is only a partial representation of Lord Chaitanya, who is identical with Bhagavan himself. Therefore, the descriptions of Brahman as the effulgence of Lord Chaitanya and the Paramatma as his partial representation and the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna is identical with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must be verified by evidence from authoritative Vedic literature. The author wants to establish first that the essence of the Vedas is Vishnu Tattva, the absolute truth, Vishnu, the all-pervading Godhead. The Vishnu Tattva has different categories, of which the highest is Lord Krishna. The ultimate Vishnu Tattva, as confirmed in Bhagavad-gita and throughout the Vedic literature. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is described as Nanda Sutta, or the son of King Nanda. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that Nanda Sutta has again appeared as Lord Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, And he bases this statement on his understanding that the Vedic literature concludes there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This the author will prove. If it is thus proved that Sri Krishna as the origin of all tattvas, truths, namely Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, and that there is no difference between Sri Krishna and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it will not be difficult to understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the same origin of all tattvas. The same absolute truth is, as he is revealed to students of different realizations, is called Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Should I continue? What is, I just read, right? Huh? Really? We'll read one more purport. Text 10. Prakasha Visheshat Tenadare Tinanama Brahma Paramatma Ara Swayam Bhagavan. In terms of his various manifestations, he is known in three features called impersonal Brahman, the localized Paramatma, and the original personality of Godhead. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained the word Bhagavan in his Bhagavad Sandarbha. The personality of Godhead being full of all conceivable and transcendental potencies is absolute supreme whole. Impersonal Brahman is a partial manifestation of the absolute truth, realized in the absence of such complete potencies. Impersonal Brahman is a partial manifestation of the absolute truth, realized in the absence of such complete potencies. The first syllable of the word Bhagavan is Bha, which means sustainer and protector. The next letter Ga means leader, pusher and creator. Va means dwelling. All living beings dwell in the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord dwells within the heart of every living entity. Combining all these concepts, the word Bhagavan carries the living being, every living being. Combining all these concepts, the word Bhagavan carries the import of inconceivable potency, knowledge, energy, strength and opulence, power and influence, devoid of all varieties of inferiority. Without such inconceivable potencies, one cannot fully sustain or protect. Our modern civilization is sustained by scientific arrangements devised by many great scientific brains. We can just imagine, therefore, the gigantic brain whose arrangement sustains the gravity of the unlimited number of planets and satellites, and who creates the unlimited space in which they float. If one considers the intelligence needed to orbit man-made satellites, one cannot be fooled into thinking that there is not a gigantic intelligence responsible for the arrangements of the various planetary systems. There is no reason to believe that all the gigantic planets float in space without the superior arrangement of a superior intelligence. This subject is dealt with in the Bhagavad-gita clearly, where the personality of Godhead says, I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. Were the planets not held in the grip of the personality of Godhead, they would all scatter like dust in the air. Modern scientists can only impractically explain the inconceivable strength of the personality of Godhead. The potencies of the syllables Ba, Ga and Va apply in terms of many different meanings. Through his different potent agents, the Lord protects and sustains everything, but he himself personally protects and sustains only his devotees, just as a king personally sustains and protects his own children, while entrusting the protection and sustenance of the state to various administrative agents. The Lord is the leader of the devotees, as we learn from Bhagavad-gita, which mentions that the personality of Godhead personally instructs his loving devotee how to make certain progress on the path of devotion, and thus surely approach the kingdom of God. The Lord is also the recipient of all the adorations offered by his devotees, for whom is the objective and the goal. For his devotees, the Lord creates a favorable condition for developing a sense of transcendental love of Godhead. For his devotees, the Lord creates a favorable condition for developing a sense of transcendental love of Godhead. Sometimes he does this by taking away a devotee's material attachments by force and baffling all his material protective agents. For thus the devotee must completely depend on the Lord's protection. In this way, the Lord proves himself to be the leader of his devotees. So Srila Prabhupada is developing this theme in 3 parts. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desitarane Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Makim Dadadi Saptantikam Vancha Kalpatarobhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasa Adi Gauru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, Srila Prabhupada, you have heard his name? Srila Prabhupada? Srila Prabhupada is developing the theme here, following Srila Jiva Goswami in 3 parts. The first part is talking about the transcendental meaning of the term Bhagavan in terms of splitting it into 3 parts, Bha, Ga and Va. And the ending N, Bhagavan, means one who does all these things, Bha, Ga and Va. And then he actually talks about the necessity of the Lord to be Bhagavan, because he has described what is Bhaga and Va. Then he decries the modern scientists, which also means it includes Munis and other thinkers in old times who are trying to understand the absolute truth by the process of spiritual inquiry. The scientists are trying to understand the truth by the process of material inquiry. And he uses it only to protect his devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam. And for the rest of the people, he allows his energies to do it. So that is also Prabhupada is describing in the purport. And then he is going to talk about more about the Lord. That purport also we will read. And the learned transcendentalists, vadanti tat tattvavidas, tattvavid. Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita, tattvavid, tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshante te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. So, tattvavid are people who factually know, isn't it? I've always given the simple example that many people know about God, but they do not know God. Like people will know about Modi, they may not know Modi. But one who actually knows Modi, to give an example, will be a Modi with like that. Krishna is the original tattva, and one who knows Krishna is called tattvavit. Tattva means category, and Krishna is the original category. So, this is a great discussion. In my YouTube channel, I have given one video on Sanskrit. Isn't it? So, in that, if you go to YouTube, if you go to my channel, Rasaraj Dasa, there are two Rasaraj Das channels. If you see the one with my face, I have some short videos. So I have explained there that Sanskrit has the unique feature of, the words corresponding to reality. You follow? We say something is a chair, sitting in a chair. Somebody will say kursi. Somebody will say narkali in Tamil. So which sound actually represents this object as chair? Chair or kursi or narkali or Spanish word, English word? Samjha? Which one is the real name of that thing? It is chair or it is kursi? But it is a chair or it's not a chair? Then which sound represents it? Whatever it is. So, generally this is known as the symbol grounding problem in the West. It comes in many, many ways. That is why I think somebody like Shakespeare said, a rose called by any other name will smell equally sweet. So, kya farak padta hai? You follow? In one article on physics and reality, Einstein has discussed the connection between concept and reality. So he is coming up with the idea, you can say people are all thinking about it. He is coming up with the idea that the connection between sound, after all it's a sound, narkali, maze, chair, kursi, so sounds. And the connection between sound and the object is conventional. Just like you go, when you enter the temple, you leave your slippers. They give you token 49. There is nothing inherent connection between 49 token and your slippers. He could have put it in the cubicle number 63 also. So generally, at the level of vicary sound means Vyavaharika world sound, language is not supposed to have any meaning. That by convention, we develop association of sound with things. And in this way, they have developed language. You follow me? So such a poor conception, they will think, what is this thing of saying God is Bhagavan, Ba means this, Ga means that, Va means this. Sometimes people are a little proud and they think, this Vedic analysis and all this. Hair splitting. I had a professor who said, all Indian philosophy is Gatapatadi Fatfat, he said. So they use the word gat and pat for all explanations. And Fatfat means hot air. It has no meaning, they say like that. I asked him, why do you say like that? Then he said, see, if you read all the Indian ancient scriptures, they will say that Shankara went to some place and there was a great scholar there. And when he was going, they will describe how in his ashrama, there were so many trees and so many beautiful birds, and they were making so many happy sounds, and everything was so wonderful. And then he went and then he debated Shankar, that great scholar, and he defeated him, Buddhist scholar. And when he came back, it will be described in great detail also how the birds were no longer singing and the trees were no longer blooming and everything was there. But nothing will be said about what was the discussion, which is somewhat true. So if you see also in Chaitanya Caritamrita, you will see Lord Chaitanya went and he spoke with Chand Kasi, and then Chand Kasi later said, "I'm so sorry, then your Sankirtan will go on." And he came back, but the actual full detailed discussion will not be there. So they say, then in this way, people think about it. But this entire subject matter is far more deep than that. So I was explaining that the idea in the West modern times is that the language is developed by human beings. Like they think that there was a Neanderthal man or something, and if somebody came near his cave, he'll say, like that. And then afterwards it came, don't come near, or whatever it is. So they think that it explains from uncivilized men. So language is created by human beings. So then they have social anthropologists and others who study why is it that humans have developed the language, not other. But we see in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna was talking to ants also. But according to the Vedic concept, language creates human beings. Did you know that? That language creates human beings? So you have to know all of this. This is what Vedic understanding is in order to study the Vedas. If you are studying all of this, then you should know. You agree? So, in the material world, the origin of the material world is from sound. From sound, other elements are coming. The first gross material element is sound. And sound is called Shabda. I don't know, I'm just going into various things. I don't know whether it's of use to all of you or not, but I'll blabber something. Time hai. Time pass ke liye kuch bolna padega. Right, Bajari Prabhu? So, sound is Shabda. So, this Shabda comes with meaning. It's a great science. So in the third canto, part 4, when Prabhupada is, the first thing that is described is ether and sound, they're manifestations of the one and the same thing. Prabhupada says that this verse is a potential basis of great scientific research work. How from Sabda the world has come. Sabda does not actually mean sound. Sabda actually means information. You understand? Is it interesting or boring, sir? I should go back to some stories. Huh? Huh? Kya? Interesting? Okay. Interesting? So what was I saying? Sabda. Sabda means, once we were having lunch in Vivekanandan Prabhu's place long time ago, maybe 30, 40 years ago. Our, what is our Swamiji? What's his name? Bihar Swamiji. Anji? Yes. So Radha Govind Maharaj was also there. And I don't know, just suddenly I said, this is not sound, I said. We think this is sound, material. Science also thinks. I said, this is not sound. sound is that which conveys information. If upon this you say, oh, somebody is knocking on the door, that information is sound. Anyway, there's no need to write all this down. Just listen. You're all supposed to be Brahmanas, just listen. No need to write. Because when you don't write, you're forced to think about it, or else you'll forget. That way you'll remember. So, he very much appreciated it. Afterwards, many times when I see, he will say, I've never forgotten this. He said, this is not sound. Sound is information. Lord Kapila also says that in the Bhagavad Sankhya. So it is in the Bhagavatam. You should not think it's all useless knowledge. Why are we wasting time? It's there in the Bhagavatam. Sound is that which conveys the idea of an object. Of course, it is a... And our Shankadari Prabhu used to ask me a long time ago, what is semantic information? சரிக்கா நேற்று நீயும் தூங்கிருந்தேன் இன்னைக்கு அவர் தூங்குறேன் நாளைக்கு நானே இப்படியே போயிட்டு இருக்கோம் வாழ்க்கை. So Shankadari Prabhu once asked me in one bureau meeting, remember that what is semantic information? You remember that question you asked me? I remember. I didn't answer it at that time. I didn't answer because my own ideas were developing. So, it's all Prabhupada knows, Lord Chaitanya knows, anyway. So, in Sanskritam, there is no difference between sound and an object. So, in Sanskritam, if we say jalam, and that's the sound that makes up the word, and this water are one and the same. One and the same. Such that by manipulating the word jalam, you can also manipulate the object. That is how mantras work. Sanskrit mantras. Are you following? Of course, it's a big science. I'm just saying it. So, there are 4 levels. According to the 11th canto, we also know that, I have said that before. There are 4 levels of association between sound and object. I'm going to come to Bhagavan, but ये सब पहले थोड़ा जानना चाहिए. Otherwise, we won't know this is a science. Prabhupada is a master of this. I'm just an illiterate fool who maybe know thoda kuch I have learned from the great Acharya, because he wants that service to be done. I'm doing it. So you don't have to think that I'm some great guy who knows these things. I don't know. Shri Gaurnitai ki, SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple ji ki jai, Shri Sitaram Lakshmanan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I don't know. You see? Lord Chaitanya must have said, who is this fool who doesn't know anything, talking like he knows something? Open the door, let me see. Fortunately, at the time I was myself saying I'm a fool. So he says, all right, okay. You see? In the presence of such great personalities, we must first learn to feel very, very ordinary. Otherwise, how can we learn? Think of Lord Chaitanya, think of Srila Prabhupada. Great personalities. And if I read his book, as if I know everything, it's just written something in English, I cannot understand. Not possible. So, to whatever extent I understand something, it is because I should be fixed in this understanding that I know nothing. I have said before here that Prabhupada has not written his books in English. Isn't it? This book is not written in English. Surprising or not surprising? Huh? It's not written in English. Just like if you study a physics book, if you think it's written in English, then an English professor must be able to understand it, But can he understand a physics book, English professor? Advanced English book, can he understand? No. You understand? The book is written in English, but by knowing English you cannot understand that book because the subject matter is conveyed in English. It's the subject matter that's important. It's clothed in English. It's called natural language in modern academic discourse, philosophy and all that. These are all discussed in Vedic discussion has gone far beyond those things. But these guys for the last 2000 years are slowly trying to bootstrap and understand. But we should know those contexts. But you may not know, but I have to know because we are trying to present these things in modern times, the Vedic knowledge. So just as a physics book written in English cannot be understood by someone who knows only English, Prabhupada's books cannot be understood if I know only English. Does it make sense? Following? He's a scientist. No, you. So, we have to be very careful. So when he is writing like this, Bhaga and Va, we should know that he is discussing a very advanced topic. I don't understand anything about it. But still I know a little bit basic things to that, so thoda kuch lagao. It's a high class. Srila Jiva Goswami is describing. Why will he be analyzing just the words? Ba means this, Ga means Ba. Because these sounds are non-different from those energies. Such that the name Bhagavan, if you actually know, if you have knowledge, it is non-different from all the energies and the owner of the energies. Therefore, if you know Krishna, then in that sound, everything is there. That's a science. It's a science. Therefore, the old Vedic sages knew mantras. Ashvino, Mira, Ashvino, Bhagavat, they're putting. But what are they doing? They know. So from childhood, the Brahminical boy is taught how to actually hear the transcendental sound. Not the transcendental sound of the Maha Mantra, which is supreme, but Vedic mantras are there. Shatru Chedaika Mantram, Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya Mantram. Isn't it? Shatru Chedaika Mantram. This is a mantra which can kill the 6 enemies. Right? Anger, lust, moha, mada, matsarya, all these 6 enemies. Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya Mantram. All the Upanishads, that means also the Vedas, Upanishads are part of the Vedas, they are actually, everybody is using them to make puja. In the Vedic times, the Vedic mantras were there for yajnas and pujas. But they themselves, if they want to do puja, what do? They chant this mantra. What is that? Shatru Chedaika Mantram, Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya Mantram, Japa Japa Satatam Jihve Sri Krishna Mantram. So the Vedas and Upanishads, when they want to do puja, they chant this mantra, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. It's said like that. So Krishna is so great. That is why yesterday we read, I think, he was giving the class, and we read a verse from the Bhagavatam, where Krishna tells the gopis that I have, out of myself, created everything. And everything actually I withdraw. We hear this. But it is unlimited subject matter that we can actually meditate on. Isn't it? It's a great subject matter. And so those who actually have understood Krishna and his energies deeper, they can relish these topics very nicely. But when we read this, if we don't have any background, we'll say, Jiva Goswami has replied, Ba means this, Ga means this, Va means this, ding, 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 ठीक है, चलो, प्रसाद के लिए जाएंगे, 9 o'clock. So I'm always lamenting when I'm reading these things that I really don't understand. It's a highly technical and exotic purport of Srila Prabhupada. And every word has full meaning. You see? Srila Jiva Goswami has explained the word Bhagavan in his Bhagavat Sandarbha. The personality of Godhead being full of all conceivable and inconceivable potencies. We should not just read. Conceivable and inconceivable potencies. That means the Lord has potencies that the living entity can conceive, and he has got potencies that he cannot conceive. The scientists are actually breaking through on the conceivable potencies, one little part of conceivable potency. That is in matter, one little part. But that is also not conceivable for us, ordinary people. How many ordinary people can know that you can actually create something by which you can talk from here to there, New York? Or you can just call somebody on Skype in New York and talk to him. Inconceivable. It was not known 100 years ago. Nobody could have believed such things. Isn't it? It's happening. When you have your car is going, wherever it's going, in the car you put the map, address it says, how is it going? Because the car's position is being tracked by geosatellites. Can you imagine? Your car is being tracked by geosatellites that are put in the atmosphere by various governments, and they are all actually used to calculate, your position and where you are going, your speed, everything. You are driving the car, it says you are going at 40 miles an hour, speed limit is 35, slow down. How does it know? So it uses actually, part of that is used Einstein's theory of relativity, general theory of relativity. But when Einstein found it in 1905, his theory, there were no cell phones, there were no satellites, there were no electronic communications, there were no computers, there was no software calculating and all that. But he found a theory that was later used. And you are using it. But you may not even know what is the cell phone doing. Correct? But when you know, you can appreciate. Wow, these people how did they find out? But they are no doubt durbuddhi, but they are not fools. Fools and rascals, Prabhupada says. But not for Prabhupada, there's fools and rascals. We are for Prabhupada, I'm also fool and rascal. Because I'm not fully surrendered to Krishna, I'm doing my own nonsense whenever I can. Fools and rascals. That Prabhupada can say. Anyway, I mean, the subject matter of the sound and creation is vast. So when Prabhupada says scientists are speculators, you should be very careful, or we should be very careful, or I should be very careful. Better I say that. I should be very careful. I should not think they're just speculators, because the scientists will say, you are the speculator, I'm not the speculator. Because he says, when you say milk ocean is there, Vishnu is there in the milk ocean, Krishna is there in Vaikuntha, you're speculating. You can say, but you also don't know whether quarks exist, right? Or whether this exists, that exists. You're also speculating. No, we are proposing that such things exist, And we are also showing by our mathematics and experiments that if such things were to exist, such and such a thing would be a consequence, and that way we have produced all the machines. Your motor cars, your cell phones, your internet, your X-ray machine, your robot doing surgery, everything we have developed by... So scientists know that they are speculatively postulating the existence of various things, whether it's electromagnetic field or electrons or this or that. You should not think that they don't know. They know. But that is science. But by speculating on those things, they have what are called testable consequences. So they say, we have no problem if you say God exists, milk ocean exists, but prove it here. Now you could say, why should we prove with your method the existence of God or milk ocean? We believe in those things. They will say, milk ocean and God you have not seen, I have not seen. But matter you have seen and I have seen. So if matter we understand better than you, why should we believe that you understand milk ocean better than me? Do you follow what I'm saying? That will be good argument or not? You can't deny. So, before this modern science came, you could have said whatever it is. We don't care for all these things, we believe in Shastra. Today you cannot, because Shastras are also talking about matter. Bhumi, Rapo, Analo, Vayu, Kam, Mano, Buddhi, Revacha, Ahankaram, Iti, Yami, Binna, Prakriti, Ashtata. So you are saying there are 8 elements, which Prabhupada in the purport expands to 24 elements. So we are saying actually there are 24 elements, but we have found there are 120 elements, periodic table. Who is correct, you or us? So using our chemistry, we have produced soap, we have produced surf, we have produced Dettol, we have produced this and that and this and that, which you are using every day. With your Bhumi, Rapanala, Vayu, what you have produced? So challenge is there in the modern times. But Lord Chaitanya has created this modern science. Yeah? कौन बात कर रहा है? You're following? So, especially in modern times, but even in the olden times, instead of the modern scientists, you had yogis with siddhis. They were not believing in personal God. So then the Vaishnavas also, in the olden days, even in previous years, had that challenge. And they met that challenge of the materialists. So this materialist thing we should not dismiss, saying, oh, this is only now, in the olden days it was not. No, it was there. That is why when Prabhupada also was giving lecture, Indians would come and ask Prabhupada in the Pandal program, Swamiji, can you show some miracles? Well, that is an empirical test. They were not just empirical test. There is one story of Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who was one, people like stories, so let me also tell some stories. So he came, one Marwari businessman from Calcutta came with his assistants, because he had heard about this Babaji Maharaj, he is very great. And he came, and he was watching him from a distance all morning. And Babaji Maharaj chanting, he's in Krishna Leela. Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditra Madhyan Manasura Sena. Vaditya Madhya Manasura Sena is enjoying. Lord Chaitanya is not enjoying, participating. So 12 o'clock ho gaya, Marwari is thinking, then finally approached him and he said, Babaji, can you show me some miracle? Babaji didn't even respond to him. And he was there for some time. Don't mind. And then the Marwari was not going, rich Marwari. Suddenly around 12:35, he said, Maharaj, he just took a little stick and he said, "Hey!" And Marwari was watching like that. Then he went to Babaji Maharaj and said, "Why did you do that?" "No, you have this garden with the Tulsi and one goat was coming to eat that, so I just did it in Calcutta." Immediately, he's supposed to have sent a telegram from Krishnanagar and check whether, and then somebody, that man said, "Yes, one goat came." Then he was very satisfied. Yes, actually, Babaji Maharaj has got some Shakti because we are here and he found out something happening there. So when he went, then other people asked Babaji Maharaj, "Babaji, you never do anything like this. How come you did something like this?" "This fellow will not leave unless I do something. And if I don't do something also, he will think about me offensively. So just to save him, I did that." So that is one of the qualities of a pure devotee, that he makes sure that others don't get a chance to commit an offense against them. They are very, very merciful. We don't know the greatness of great people. We may do this thing. Anyway, I don't know how I went into that. So, I'm always a little afraid to discuss all these topics because people may say it's boring or something, but let's come back to it. So, earlier I was talking about this science. So, scientists will say we are speculators. That's the point I was speaking. Because they've got a method for testing their speculations. They know they are speculating. They also use the word fantasized, imagination, theories. So scientists know these things. The speculative character of, scientific construction. They'll say like that. Einstein has written on that. So they know that. But it's actually compensated, the speculative nature, by the fact that they can create mathematical theories that make predictions and that work. But it's not an ordinary thing. Science has its own method. That's not. So Lord Chaitanya has created this material science in this yuga, Kali Yuga, to bring his own Achinta Beda Beda Tattva into the world. Because science has got two characters that are very necessary in devotional life. One is Adav Shraddha. In the beginning, one must have faith. Correct? We have some faith, but not complete faith. We should recognize that. So, but you have to have complete faith. Faith means belief in things that cannot be sensorially cognized. That's called faith. You cannot see the soul. Well, you can, but people think like that. Then you believe in the soul. But scientists now, ordinary people believe in things that you cannot see by the eyes. They believe there is current. When there's wire, there's current flowing. They know that if you cut it and touch it, you'll get shock. That is experimental verification. You get a shock. So they believe that there is an electric current. So scientists have actually developed in ordinary people the capacity to believe in things which otherwise they can't because they're poppies. In order to actually have faith in things that you cannot see, you must have had punya. Why you must have punya? Because by punya you have actually gone to, we have gone to previously higher planets, higher positions and come back. So you have faith. Just like you have seen a cycle, you have seen a motorcycle, and you have seen a car, then you have seen a plane. So even though you have not seen a rocket, you believe that there is a rocket. You may not have actually seen a rocket, but you have seen many other things from which you can extrapolate. Like that, when the jiva has punya, he knows there are heavenly planets because he has been there. He has got some intuitive understanding. Everybody has. So such a person, it is for him easy to accept that beyond the heavenly planets there is also spiritual planets. Natat bhashayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaka. No problem. But one who has always gone to hellish planets, how is he going to believe in heavenly planets? And how is he going to believe? So papis cannot believe in things beyond the senses because they're suffering in the world. But science actually is giving them a chance to know something beyond the senses. It's a deep topic. I'm just very quickly summarizing. And scientists also give physical well-being to people. Whoever gives physical well-being, whatever is their religion, people buy. So science is materialistic and atheistic, but it is providing physical well-being, so people are generally materialistic and atheistic. So one of the important aspects of Varnashrama Dharma is that the so-called Brahminical class of people will actually be obliged to provide physical well-being to people. But currently we let people fill their bellies and earn money outside, but we want them to come to ask for spiritual knowledge. That will only a few people will do. 99% of the people who are outside and, depending on science and technology to fill their bellies, they will buy into the implicit metaphysics of science, which is atheism. So, this whole scientific work has been constructed. Therefore, Prabhupada wrote, the Bhaktivedanta Institute is for those who will not come to the temple. Not for those who will not come is 99%. So there is so much being developed, So anyway, now there's about 5 more minutes, so we'll try to wind up. So the important idea is that Sanskrit is the source of creation. Eventually, human beings are also created by sound and other elements. But modern people think that language has come from human beings. That's an entire ulta, complete different view. So where is that view? Where is this view? In dono ke beech mein kitna dur hai, if you want to ask. That is also given in Bhagavatam. That this connection between sound and object. From the sound comes all these objects. That is actually fourfold. Kitna? Fourfold. So you have on the one hand para, and another end you have Vaikari sound. Vaikari sound and object is conventional. This is rose, this is fan. It can be called anything in any other language. In para, there is no difference between sound and object. That's why we say Krishna and Krishna's name are non-different. That's true also of gopis and gopis' names. In the spiritual world, everything is absolute. So Lord Chaitanya was once chanting gopis' names. This is there. So, that is the world of para, and this is the world of apara. In between, there are 2 more sounds, Madhyama and Pashyanti. So, that's a science, we can learn about them. All these things are all to be known before we enter. So, you can see all conceivable, inconceivable. Conceivable means they are able to conceive. Scientists are able to conceive. There are electrons, there are protons, there are atoms, there are genes, and there is, amino acids and this and that. There's pH value, there's chemistry, there's acids and there's bases. They are not to be seen. There's chemical bond. They're conceiving. And those conceptions actually work out because they are working with the conceivable part of Krishna's opulence. That much is condensed in this one sentence Prabhupada is writing, that the personality of Godhead being full of all conceivable and inconceivable potencies. Then there is also inconceivable potencies. They are all spiritual in nature. In this way, it is there So the Prabhupada is saying the first syllable of the word Bhagavan, Ba, which means sustainer and protector. That means that sound Ba is not different from Krishna's Shakti to protect. It's not just a way of speaking. And Ga means first syllable, and the next letter Ga means leader, pusher, creator. From Prabhupada's level, he can speak for 1,000,000 years on just this one thing. But yet he is summarizing and writing a purport. Like Akasha Ganga coming here. We should not simply read this in English and think what it is. You follow what I'm saying? There is a lot of things are there. And then he says, the next letter, Ga means this, and Va means dwelling. All living beings dwell in the Supreme Lord. So Krishna is the abode on which everything exists. Is a dwelling place. Like in your house you live, it's a dwelling place. Like in Krishna, everything lives. All the energies exist in Krishna. So you can get a little understanding of how great is Krishna. You know, even an ordinary king, nobody is living on the king. Right? The prime minister is very powerful. He may be sustaining the country by his power, elected power, whatever it is, his own power. But nobody is living on the king or the president. But everything lives on Krishna. For Bhagavan, wow, it's dwelling place. So we should meditate. Who is this great personality in whom everybody and everything lives, including all the trillions of Narayanas? That is why when Brahma stole the cowherd boys and went, and when he came back to see, they were all there exactly as before. Then he was wondering how it was. At that time Krishna showed that millions and 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 millions of Narayanas. Narayana is the Supreme Lord himself, were actually coming from him, and they were taking the role of all the cows and cowherd boys. So Narayana is also dwelling in Krishna. Not one or two, unlimited. We must not cheaply take Krishna, Bhagavan. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Everybody is an abode for everything. In my own body, there are so many things inside, living beings, in the stomach, in the skin. So you also, as a little soul, you have got a little body, which is actually the sustaining place for so many things existing. But Krishna is the supreme in whom everything lives. Right, Sitaram? Isn't that amazing? That Supreme Lord is so great that he can also appear inside his energies in the way he is appearing. So the purpose of the Srimad Bhagavatam class is to expand our consciousness. Not to simply sit and get further proof that I know everything. No. So those who have actually the knowers of Tattvavit, we should hear from them, and amongst all the Tattvavits, the foremost is His divine grace. But if you read this book in English, how you are going to understand? Therefore, the basic things, the science that is required to understand this must be discussed. Okay, I have blabbered enough. Any questions or comments? Yes? 1 second, Mataji. Ramru.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So many things,
Huh?
so many new things I have heard first time.
I'm mentioning in summary only.
While Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was explaining one verse from third canto Bhagavatam, where it comes Trayadishaha, na asit samayatas
Slowly. Na?
Trayadishaha.
Uh.
One word comes in that verse, third canto Bhagavatam,
Where is it in third canto?
second chapter.
Uh.
While explaining this Brahma Vimohan Leela, there Mahaprabhu explained where how these expansions and all, explaining, he became ecstatic
Right.
that Krishna is so great. So you have so nicely put, how Krishna is so great.
Yeah. So it's a dwelling place, right? Oh, that is in Brahma Vimohana Lila. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I remember that. Lord Chaitanya became ecstatic, therefore you can infer that he was in the mood of Radharani,
Yeah.
relishing Krishna's pastimes.
Then he was telling Sanatana Goswami, Are, I'm saying something, I lost myself.
Huh?
He's telling Sanatana Goswami, I am saying something, but I lost. Then he started explaining the beauty of Lord Krishna. Then he lost himself. Are, where I have gone? I was saying something, then I have gone somewhere else because of this opulence
All
of
very,
Krishna.
very high class. Lord Chaitanya. That's nice. Thank you.
One thing in Prabhupada writes in 6th Canto Bhagavatam, Chitraketu Maharaj's prayers, the credit for creating aeroplane. Prabhupada says aeroplanes creation is the great. So credit for creating airplanes should go to Krishna, because Krishna is the one who created the brains of the scientists. Krishna is the one who gave intelligence to scientists, and then Krishna is the one who created the ingredients. So finally, the credit for creating aeroplanes should go to Krishna. But when the scientists have created these aeroplanes, when they are finished, they are having a problem what to do with the debris.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Krishna is writing, unko dena, Mataji ko. Oh. Krishna, I sometimes I go to the library, in Berkeley Library, thousands of journals. Just you go to the mathematics department, hundreds and hundreds of journals, and each journal, so many complicated papers. And everything is written by Krishna. It is not written by anybody else. All these bodies, everything it's not that Krishna created the brains of scientists. He is all these things. The scientist, by scientist, if we mean the soul, that soul is misunderstanding Kartaham. But everything is done by Krishna. And I was thinking, there are so many scientists and so many people are taking names, so-called. But Krishna is the one who is writing all. There is no mathematician in the world who knows all the mathematics. It's not possible. There is no physicist who knows all the physics. But Krishna knows everything, because he is doing everything. So sometimes I relish when I go to the library. I just think, wow, look at Krishna. He has written this paper, he has written this paper. But then I have to forget that and I have to focus on the paper to do my research, but that's all right. So it is a very great, you will understand Krishna more and more when you do one particular type of service that comes by Prabhudatta Seva. It's another topic. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have one small comment and then I have a small comment and then a question. The small comment is that when Srila Prabhupada was asked if he could make miracles.
If he could?
If he could make miracles.
Miracle, yes.
Yeah. So he gestured to the devotees and he said, all Western devotees, Mlechas, Yavanas, he said, I transformed them into devotees. And that's his miracle, that he transformed such type of person into devotee.
But that was not my point, so I didn't say that.
No? Right.
My point was that people ask like that.
Yeah.
Why they are asking? Because of the nature. But yes, Prabhupada did reply and said, all these devotees, they are my miracle.
And my question is, you mentioned that sound is the origin of creation.
Sound,
But in English, it's, in Western languages, it's considered, it's not, sorry. Prabhupada says like if you chant water, 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 water is not going to come. So you said in English, the sound and the object are different. But you say that in Sanskrit, sound and object are the same. So if you know Sanskrit and you chant water, water in Sanskrit, then how come that water does not appear?
We have to know how to chant. That is why the mantras are, you have to learn how to chant. For example, there is a raga called Amrita Varshini. And if you sang that raga, rain comes. But everybody cannot sing that raga and make rain come. The sound has to be... Sound is not something that you can easily get. Therefore, the Vedic... originally, there was no music. Abhi, you have cinema music, rock music, but then you have classical music. But classical music came from Bharata Shastra. That was also compiled for Kali Yuga. But before that, there are only Vedas. So the person who knew how to pronounce and sing the Vedas is called Udgata. So there are 4 priests, Udgata, Ritvik, Agnihotri, like that. So, Vedic sound is the original music and it has to be learned. It takes many, many years. They are based on the 7 notes. And to just learn the 7 notes itself takes lifetime. It's not so easy even to say sa. Sa. To say this, it'll take somebody many years. It took me many years, and I'm not even an amateur. I'm not even a beginner. So when you learn the sound, just the sa is non-different from Krishna. And if you can only sing sa in a concert, that's also enough. You don't have to sing anything. Sa and pa are sthai swara. They don't change in any raga. So to pronounce that jalam properly, which is, if it is the same, why don't we manufacture? We must know how to pronounce. For that, you have to learn music. And the origin of music is Vedas. Not only that Sama Veda is music, Rig Veda, everything is music.
Jai, thank you very much.
That's a nice question. Thank you very much for that question. We'll stop, yes? We'll stop here. More questions I can take later. Sri Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Sri Sri Gaur Nitai ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Sri Sri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hare.